Hello, I'm Adriana and welcome. In order to become a vessel for the higher vibration, loving energy from the divine, I have worked on my issues every single day for the past 8 years. I've been on the spiritual journey for about 20 some, give or take, but it has been the last 8 that have been the most intense. And working through my issues every day has increased my clairaudience, but more importantly, has helped me become a really clear channel for those seeking the heart guided wisdom of evolution, of of us who want to get to a better place, who want to come into our full potential and connect in a deeper way with the higher self. This reading today is for an individual. I'm going to ask that we align and connect our energies so that I can bring forward the information you've been looking for and information that will help you go out in a more positive way amongst those who you care about and even broader. All right. So if you could please drop your awareness into your heart center. And as simple as this may sound, just ask for clarity. Whatever it is that you need clarity on, just please ask for clarity. Okay, and I do feel the connection has been made, so let's go ahead and get some cards out. I will show them to you as I talk about them, but just for me, I need to see them out in a flow first. Okay, our foundational cards, we're going to do 3 Page of Fire, 2 of Earth, and the Ace of Water. Actually, we're going to do one more. High Priestess as well. This flow looks really good so far, everything going in the same direction. Okay, let's look at what's going on in the relationships around you, the environment around you. The Tower, 4 of Air, and the 5 of Water. Okay, so there's something going on definitely below your awareness. Okay, there's a lot of stuff in there. All right, challenge energy and beneficial energy. Okay, challenge energy, Queen of Earth. Beneficial energy, the Chariot. And overall spiritual lesson, outcome, Ace of Fire. Okay, so ultimately we're going to this space of total self-confidence, bravery, the courage to put yourself out there as an authentic individual, but we'll get deeper into that as we go. So starting this spread, there's something in the 2 of Earth that feels like you've been maybe keeping yourself sequestered or in a cave, perhaps. I mean, not literally in a cave, but it feels like you've been in that space where you're doing what you need to be doing, but you're doing it behind the scenes. You're doing it in a way that's under the radar. And this 2 of Earth is being supported on one side by the Ace of Water and then on the other side by the Page of Fire. So what I feel like is happening is you've been accumulating energy. There has been a lot of divine inspiration coming to you, and you've been doing what you need to do to nurture this energy and to make it feel at home with you. And you're getting ready to expand. I see the expansiveness in the Page of Fire. There's a lot of traditional cards that I would associate with creativity going on here. And we've got 1 + 2, which gives us a 3. This is a creative act, whether it is literally making artwork or creating a space in your environment, a special space, or creating within the realm of relationship. It's about to get out there, because on the other side, we've got the High Priestess. This is a part of you that you've been keeping very secret. It may be something about a relationship that you've been keeping secret, or maybe the relationship itself could be you've been keeping it secret. But altogether, it's really nice progression because the high priestess is that powerful wisdom flowing into the divine connection with the ace of water into the earth, two of earth where it's nurtured, and page of fire where it's ready to shine. And I feel like there's even more trying to come out here. So just give me a second, because we have the theme of water on all of these cards. High priestess she's putting her power into this water here. Mermaids in the water, water flowing out. So the words of being in the flow are very important right now. But this is about, how do I derive the power from being in the flow? How do I manage having this power from being in the flow? And I want to say it can feel a bit awkward right now, almost a bit out of place. You know, to me, this salamander here, it just doesn't really fit with the rest of the image. This seems very like coming to life and the sparks happening, but visually this salamander seems out of place. So as we're learning how to derive power from being in the flow, it's just a very different way than what you've done before. And the Queen of Earth being our challenge energy, Earth is very rooted and grounded, and it can be very supported. At the same time, it can be very stifling. And so this is really about going where the flow takes you, even if it's faster, the chariot, than you think it's going to be. And this is also about knowing that when you're in that divine space, okay, hang on a second, because there's something about these raindrops. I'm getting a very strong healing message that the flow is happening to create a deeper healing within you. That part of the reason why things are happening faster than perhaps you want is because for some reason that we need to have this healing accelerated. And I don't know why this is. I don't know what's in front of you quite yet. We haven't looked. But there's a reason why this healing is happening faster. And this may be to bring you into a closer connection with your power, to give you more feeling that you have more autonomy, that you have more choice over what you're creating. But there's just something else. There's something else in there. And it's really bugging me that it's like almost right there. So if you don't mind, just give me a second so I can check with him about what this is about. This is about allowing the healing to happen rather than seeking the healing. So a lot of times we are aware that we're experiencing some brokenness or some disconnection. But for you right now, this is about understanding that the body and the psyche and everything within you wants to heal, that we are actually programmed to heal. And what causes the brokenness a lot of times is us getting in the way. It's like if you cut yourself and you see that, okay, I'm bleeding, you clean that off, but you let your skin just naturally come back together. Then you see how quickly the blood wants to clot and how quickly the skin seems to knit together. If you sit there scratching off that scab, then you're causing more trauma to the skin, and you're complicating the healing process. So what tends to happen is when we're hurt, the body and the psyche immediately want to come back together. But what keeps us from coming back together are past traumas. So the trauma is stronger to that area and it can't heal. The trauma weakens the ability for the self to heal. So it comes slower together. This can also happen as you age. Like, as I remember when I was younger, like a kid, I would bruise and my bruise would be gone the next day. Now I feel like I bruise and it's there for a few days. And I'm sure there's other things that you can relate to. You know, you could fall on the floor and you'd get up and be fine. And now if you fall, you might be a little sore the next day or whatever. The same happens to us psychically. The more we accumulate, the more psychic burdens we accumulate or hurts that we accumulate, the harder it is for us to bounce back and the harder it is for us to have the resilience. But what I see here is a renewal of that healing, a renewal of that ability to bounce back and have that flow where, like a toddler will fall down, and if you ignore them, they'll usually just get up and keep going. That's where we're headed. And so what is going on in your environment, I would think, based on what I'm seeing, is wanting to oppose this healing. Here you are in the middle, the Four of Swords, and you're trying to get yourself back together. I mean, this is another message too. Sometimes in the passive activities, resting, sleeping, yoga nidra, yin yoga, where you're not actively doing things, this allows the body to heal itself. Sometimes when we actively try to go in there, the body is more disturbed. It's something about allowing us to come to an alpha state, an alpha wave state in the brain. So when we're at peace, when we're at rest, that is the prime environment for the body to come and heal itself. And that's where you're trying to be. I see you trying to get to that state. And I'm going to say, I could be wrong in the alpha state, but it's that state of mind where you're in a vibration, where it feels like you're totally at peace, where it feels like stillness and contentedness within you. That's where you can have an actual healing experience. But what's going on outside, we've got the Tower outside, we've got the Five of Water outside. And the Five of Water is directed at you. The Tower is directed at you. Tell me more about this Tower, please. Because you're doing your best to stay calm in the middle of hurricanes, in the middle of tornadoes. And yet, the water, if it is not used properly, still can pull you off balance. Because remember how I said before, the 2 plus the 1 is the 3? Well, we add the High Priestess, which is really card number 2. This is the positive 5, the positive flow. We have the negative 5 here, the 5 of Water. This is the shadow side, which says you're responsible. Someone's saying to you, you're responsible for how I feel. The way that you're making me feel, that's because of you. It's not because of me. This is quintessential victim and narcissist talk. My well-being is your responsibility. My emotional state is your responsibility. And right now, you're removing yourself from it. But it's still there. It's still like knocking at the door. And we've got the Tower on the other side, and that is 5 of Fire and the Fool. So again, another 5, and the Fool is card 0, so it doesn't do anything to that, to our numerology here. So we've got 5 and 5. 5 being the ability to handle whatever is thrown in front of you. The Tower is like you have challenges that you've never seen before, and they come quickly, but you're unfazed by them. However, on the outside, it may seem like a lot is breaking down in front of you. So even though you handle these challenges okay, the Tower feels like it's trying to take you by surprise. But I also feel like it's that Mars energy that can be destructive, but is actually creative. That energy that the earth creates, where the lightning comes down to burn up the forest so that the new growth can come out, so the carbon can actually enrich the soil. It feels like whatever destruction or whatever changes may be in front of you are going to actually end up being very constructive for you rather than against you. And again, the Queen of Earth being our challenge. Queen of Earth is about rootedness and nurturing of others, but here you're learning to nurture your own flow. That was our 2 of Earth from the bottom. spending more time nurturing your own self rather than worrying about others right now. That is your message in the middle here of what's going on in your relationships sector. This is you in the middle. This is everyone around you. And I have to say, these cards look and feel very disjointed to me. So you could feel a bit disconnected from your environment. And it might be also wise for you to disconnect from your environment at this time, because it's just not a time to extend yourself in nurturing. You have a lot of personal growth, and the Chariot is moving forward without fear. It's moving forward just full steam ahead where you're being pushed to move. And I love this because we had the fire, Page of Fire is the match. She lights the fire. Tower is this energy contained, but you don't know where it's headed. And then, let's do this in a more logical way. And then the fire comes out to propel you forward. So you're headed for this amazing forward motion. And I also feel like the Chariot is saying to you, keep your balance, keep your poise, keep your calm in the midst of all of this rush ahead. Don't fall off. Don't get yourself so caught up in the energy of what's going on that you then become out of balance. Stay calm. Stay in the middle of that balance beam. When this is a funny memory to have come up, but I used to do gymnastics when I was a kid, and then we had a gymnastics unit, I think in middle school or something like that, and I was really not good at gymnastics. I hated flipping over. I hated being turned upside down. I hated being on my head. I mean, this is typical earth sign, right? I didn't like being all discombobulated, but one thing I could do really well was the balance beam. And I could stand on the balance beam with one leg, grab my foot with the other, and pull it up by my head. And that that skill stayed with me even through middle school. So I remember we were doing this gymnastics unit and I was on the balance beam, and I didn't know that there were other people watching, but I was getting myself so still so that I could just stand on that one leg and grab the other leg. And I had that leg up and I'm looking around, and everyone else, it's like the whole gym just slowed down to watch to see if I was going to fall off. But it was this really kind of magical moment where everything stilled, everything slowed, and it wasn't just, it was that space within me, because I knew I had to be in a still place within me, but it affected the entire gym. And we're talking a big high school gym here. And that's what you need to be thinking about, Four of Air as well. Having that poise in the midst of whatever is going on around you. Even if it's fast, even if it's clicking, even if you're getting things from multiple ways, stay calm, stay in that still place. And we end with the Ace of Fire for you, which is taking all that you have learned, taking everything you have learned and bringing it out into a new place. It's funny, the shape of this salamander is very much echoing this shape here. And these are, to me, kind of masculine looking energy shapes. I'm trying to say it without being obvious, but that is about going forward, urging your way forward in a new way, really clearing a space for yourself, allowing your light to create a space for yourself. And there we are again. This is a perfect full circle, because here's our page, the spark, right? And then we had the Tower, the forces from the outside really unleashing the fire, the Chariot fire bringing us forward, and then we end with the Ace of Fire holding the fire. So not just looking at it here, but actually using it to light your way to come to the space of even more light, saying, this is who I am, this is what I'd like to attract, and you're walking towards that light. You're not looking at the darkness around you. You're not distracted by the Tower or the Five of Fire, whatever else is coming out. You're only focused on what you have to do, the job that you have in hand, which is to bring more love, bring more light, bring more of yourself to everything, to your situation. And I want to get a little bit more. I feel like there's another message that wants to come through the Ace of Fire for us. And I want to say everything is in hand. Even before I say that, look at the body language. Look at the hand. They've got the sword in hand and they've got their hand out doing something. And this is in your hands right now. And look, this link, they're holding hands. Two of Cups there. All right, what is the message here to clarify the Ace of Fire? Okay, this is taking me into a different space because this Two of Water seems to be reaching back to an ancient connection, whether this is with someone on the other side or maybe a past life for you. It's reaching back. Okay, if this is a past life, what is the essence of the past life that we're connecting with? Six of Fire and the Moon. Okay, on the superficial level, I would say this would be like feminine leadership, but okay, what is the essence of that life? So this is an unrequited recognition. It could be this life as well, but a life where you were not seen as who you truly are. You know, perhaps you were a practitioner of magic or someone in the know, someone who knew things, but you couldn't show who you truly were because of being persecuted. Or perhaps this was a time where you had a special talent, but that special talent couldn't be used because it just wasn't time. And so you're reaching back to that time and you're seeing that now is the time for this time to be used. Now is the time for this power to come out. And there's still part of you that feels like you have to fight your way through, that feels that you're still in a warrior state. But the truth is that as long as you know what that power is, and you have recognized that you have come here in this lifetime for this power to be used, you can come as a messenger of peace. This one is aware of the darkness, but she's not afraid of it and she's not fighting it. This one seems to think she needs to keep the darkness at bay. And what you need to realize is that the time is now. The time for you to be using this power is now. And this is coming at an important juncture in time. It's like the time is now. You need to have this in hand now. Because you could choose not to use this power. It would be very easy for you not to use this power in this life, and that would have its own set of consequences. But if you choose to use this power now, it's going to take you places that you didn't expect to go. And I'm going to take a look at the future here. If we take this advice and this power is used and this power comes out without fear and without hesitation, what does the future hold? Eight of Fire, Six of Earth, and the Queen of Fire. So this is over the ability to overcome imbalance, the ability to overcome power relationships that are not equal. This is the ability to come to a full state of power where other people are encouraged rather than suppressed. This is also this would bring about the end of struggling for you, where you feel like you're having to struggle unsupported on your own. This is quick. This is an energy that it's like you only have this window to choose, and right now is the time for you to choose and to say, okay, wherever this takes me, yes, I choose this power, because where you're headed to is not just the overcoming of imbalances of power, but it's also the ability to build on the power of others, so that all of these power, all of these abilities to do, create, harness, and direct, because that's really what power is, the ability to do any of those. All of those get stacked up together, and then we're able to create more light, but more vision. I want to say that there are going to be even more creative opportunities for that heart self to flourish. And what you've been trying to really manifest is finally going to take wing. I love this because the magician is your superpower with the dark wings. Queen of Fire, her wings are on fire, literally. So she is fired up with the passion and the burning desire to share what she can do. But she is one that knows how to use her own fire without getting burned up. She brings life and vitality and joy and passion to other people. She ignites that in them. And that's what we're looking for, is that you are going to become a force that ignites the power and the fire in other people. Not that you have to pour it in yourself, that was 6 of Earth, or do it for them, but that you actually spark their desire to come back to themselves, to come back to what brings them joy, what brings them the inspiration. Because for most of us that have any kind of connection to fire or water in our astrological charts, you can't just do something because you have to do it. You have to feel inspired to do it. And in order to feel that, there has to be an inspirational force. So if we want the world to change, we have to inspire it. And that's what you've been called here to do at this time, to use your power to inspire others to change. And the implication of this is bigger than we're realizing, because our world is based on power power disadvantage. We're based on power hierarchies. The more power you have, the more you can do. The less power you have, the less you can do. Power ought to be shared. Power ought to be built in a way that we're all bringing something to the soup, right? We're all bringing something to the table, rather than the person sitting at the table taking all the power for themselves and holding on to it. So you're poised right now at this point in human evolution, spiritual evolution, where we're shifting into power being shared. But it really involves you taking charge of your own power and being willing to walk forward towards those who have done the same, instead of feeling like you're on the defensive all the time. All right, instead of feeling like you're always caught off guard. This is a time of allowing our souls to expand beyond where we have allowed them to be. And this is going to look different for everyone, but all we need to do is be open to that expansion. There's one more message that wants to come through. In this expansion, know that you are safe. In contraction, in staying in the comfort zone, you are unsafe, because your world, your energetic world, is changing and shifting, and it also requires your expansion. Now I'm called back to this 2 of Water card. Okay. I really think this is a past life message for someone, which we touched on before, but we're going to touch on even more. In order for the soulmate to come forward, your own power has to be fully present, fully there, fully manifested. And I'm getting the word controlled, fully controlled. And I'm not crazy about that word because of the negative connotations, but and this isn't just about finding that perfect soulmate. It's that if the soulmate is already in your life, you stepping into that power allows them to come into their own part of the soulmate journey as well. And this is a huge subject, probably for another whole series of videos. Keep in mind that soulmate can be any one of your family, it can be any one of your friends, it can be your significant other, it can be a pet, it can be all of those things actually, because we have multiple. But because of your past life connection, you're in a sense the trigger for them to come forward. So you stepping forward into your own power allows them to complete whatever stage of the journey they need to be on. And if they have not completed that journey, it is because you have not stepped fully into your power. And this is an important contract that was made in the past. This is a very important soul contract because I believe it is this other person's last time on earth. So it's like this is their only chance. You may have a few more lifetimes available to you, but this is their only chance. And what their next stage of the journey looks like may not be what you think it looks like or should look like. So keep that in mind as well, that this is just about staying in your own lane, doing the things you need to do for you. But there are so many layers to the soulmate journey that we don't fully understand. Okay, this is taking me someplace else, and I'm personally struggling with it a little bit, so I appreciate your patience hanging with me. The soul as a conglomerate, the soul as many different individuals feeding that soul evolves at different rates in time. And when souls come together in a past life, they're trying to accomplish certain things in that life. But what I feel like has happened is that your soul has been allowed to evolve through different lifetimes and through different incarnations where their soul has been held more static. Maybe they've had less lifetimes than you have to evolve, but you've been like on this very busy path, and they haven't gone through as many they haven't gathered as much wisdom, or they haven't gone through as many experiences as you have perhaps. But for some reason you're brought together as equals in this lifetime, because this is also about learning that the soul just doesn't evolve or develop at the same time. And we can't expect those in our world. I mean, this has implications beyond just the soul plane, but we can't expect those in our world to have evolved all at the same time, because everyone's in a different place. But I'm getting that it's really important that we evolve this way, that there is a divine reason why we don't evolve this way. And perhaps it's that if we all evolved at the same time to the same degree, then we would just all burn out in some kind of supernova and the universe would be done. It's really important that we don't evolve at the same time. So whatever frustrations you've been feeling with your soulmate about, like, oh, they just don't get it, or oh, they're not going to get it, or why can't we ever be on the same page? There is a really important fundamental the way the weaving of the universe, the weaving of the soul, the weaving of these contracts, it's on purpose that we don't get it all at the same time. And it's really important to you that we don't get this at the same time, because if the energies all evolved at the same time, we would indeed combust. We would just combust and obliterate, essentially, because we would be all moving to the next level at the same time. And the problem with that is we would miss a lot of information. We would miss a lot of growth. We would miss a lot of evolution. And so these delays and these differences in growth patterns are on purpose so that we can get as much out of the experience as possible. And what does that mean? There is more and more and more and more experience in fabric and tapestry to embrace, which ultimately means that there is more and more and more and more love and more and more and more light, because the more we heal and come to terms with what has happened to us, and the more we come to terms with how much we grow, the more we embrace, and there is literally more light. So for some reason, we have to increase the amount of love on our planet's surface. And the only way to do that is through time-delayed experiences and contracts being not on the same page. Because also, if we send love to those who are not in the same evolutionary place, who are struggling, that is another way to create more and more love on this planet. And what happened to you and this other soul in a past life is that you did merge. You did come together so quickly and so easily that essentially your energies did combust. You went so fast to the other side, or you went so fast to that higher state of being that you really bypassed a lot of growth. It's like if I were to take, when dandelions go to seed, if I were just to take that and plant it, the plant would grow and the seed would have accomplished its mission. But those other seeds that travel for miles, look at all the terrain they would have covered, look at all the things they would have seen, and the joy I would think that a seed would feel finally finding the ground. It's like it happened too fast. The intuition, that intuitive connection for you happened too fast. And so that's why it has been so much about slowness and slowing you down and pulling you apart and seeming like that gap is even farther. There was a divine reason for this. And now your job to come back to where we were is to embrace your power, to not force something to grow before it's ready to grow, but to embrace it in the full growingness of its journey, and to be thankful that this journey has taken you on these separate paths, and that the growth is disparate, is not completely synced up, because it allows you to be more, it allows you to experience more, to have more love, and to have more growth, and so spiritual evolution. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sharing your light, for allowing your energy to be read, and I will see you again soon.